back to the Drone Champions League. I'm Matt Andrews, and with us are the best drone racing teams in the world fighting in Split 2 of 2023. And today we've got two matchups for teams who are in very different positions in our season so far. XBlades drone racing team, previous world champions, are here with Shane, Yayu, Minjay and Star23467. They are currently on 6 wins out of 6 so far in Split 2. Their opponents are the Americans of Quad Force 1, who are here with AK Drones, Propsicle, Maverick and Leviathan. A brilliant team, but having a difficult season. The China Dragons will be up next, who on the other hand are having the best season ever. They're second in our leaderboard, 5 wins of 6. Creator Gamer, Chryson, Clone Number 1 and Ion, an unchanged lineup to take on Alpha Prop Racing, one of the new teams in the season. Lazy Day, Gabri, Keepy FPV and Prop FPV. Last week, they had a really close encounter with the reigning world champions. They want to go a bit better today, as currently they are down in 8th place. They're nearly in the important top 6, which gets you invited to the Split 2 finals. The two matchups will both be raced over 3 races each, 2v2, then another 2v2, and then all 4 pilots from each team will race in the DCL Big Heat, and you get 4 points for winning any of those races, then 3, 2 and 1, including in the Big Heat. So you can take all 10 points from that. After those races have been tallied, the winner overall gets 3 points towards the season, is 1 point for a draw. Nobody wants to come away with nothing. So we're going to be racing around Void, which is in one of our few fictional locations of Oil Bando, set in the USA. The DCL has been racing since 2017 in real-life locations all over the world, and we're playing them virtually in DCL the game, available on Steam, PlayStation and Xbox. Now this track has 11 split S's. If you think of the top half of the letter S, you go over the top, turn and come out underneath in the opposite direction of what you just did. Here's one. Through the bridge, then duck under these 2 hurdles, through the block trade gate, swing under that hurdle. You have to be under it. This is the last one before you do a hard 180, and then you go back to start another lap. It's a long course, and we're doing it 6 times. XBlades and Quad Force 1. To kick it off, Star23467 and Minjay against Propsicle and Maverick. So the UK team of Minjay and Star23467 are in light blue, and the Americans, Propsicle and Maverick for Quad Force 1, they're in dark blue. Everybody's spiralling away nicely. It's a very confusing track, this one. We've never had a track this long. We've never had a track repeating an element so many times. As I say, there is 11 split S's. There's another one. The pilots should be absolutely fine on a track of this complexity, though. They're extremely experienced. Here's Propsicle going down and hits the side of that building, trying to turn a little bit too tightly, maybe feeling a little bit of pressure as they know how good XBlades are. And Quad Force 1 have got to keep up with them. Propsicle is also the captain of Quad Force 1. Young Silas Aaron, been so important for them, easily their highest point scorer. He's now 1.3 seconds behind the lead, second behind his teammate Maverick, who's in third. Minjay leads them out. Star23467's view here of his teammate. Oh, it's a bit shaky for Star. That's all a little bit... Oh, untidy! Hits the train, which is a big square gate right in front of you. That's not a difficult turn at all. He's managed to hang on to third, not quite dropped as far back as Propsicle, but Propsicle is right with him. Maverick now up into second. You can say, oh, Star, no, he's let Propsicle in front too. So we got first and fourth for XBlades onto the third lap. Maverick needing to try and do something about Minjay, who's 6/10 ahead of him, but possibly feeling like XBlades might be catchable after all. Propsicle doing brave, smooth flying. Look how he's threading all of these turns together. That is seamless. One big, continuous, smooth, and most importantly, quick movement. Good work, Propsicle, but Minjay is still a long way in front of him. Now he ducks under the hurdle, through block trade, misses that corner. You see he took it a lot wider than he did on the first lap. And then he'll split S under and out and go on to lap 4. So we're halfway through the race with Minjay 1.5 seconds ahead of Propsicle, who is most of 1.5 seconds ahead of Star. And then there's a bit more before we get to Maverick. So everybody is spread out now after we've had a few mistakes. Let's see if Propsicle threads this again. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Ooh, bit close to that pole. And a bit closer to Minjay than he was. He's caught him by half a second. There's Minjay going through the tunnel. So now Propsicle might have a little bit of vision on him. Might realise, okay, there he is. I am slightly gaining on him. And their teammates can be talking to them during this race and letting them know the gaps and how well they're doing. Now Propsicle will see Minjay just ahead of him. Split S is 1. Split S is 2. Very tight turns into this ladder section where you spiral downwards. And now this part, which we just can't get enough of seeing. It's so nice. That is glorious, and he's gained a 10th or 2 on Min-Jae, but he's going to need to find a lot more, as there's only 1.5 laps to go. Min-Jae under a bit of pressure, but he's not used to succumbing to that. It's 1 second. Propsicle's definitely a little bit closer to him. There's the chance, just sees him moving slightly ahead. And in fact, Min-Jae does get slightly out of there even quicker when you see how well Propsicle is flying. Min-Jae is doing all of this and slightly more. So tidy around the towers. Young Min-Jae Kim, who is a brilliant pilot out of Korea, racing for XBlades, and also the FAI Junior World Champion as of last weekend, no less. Out in Namwon in Korea at an amazing event. Looks like he's going to get another win to his name here. He's through block trade, last couple of turns. You don't go around for another lap. Instead, after this, it's straight to the finish gate. He'll get first, Propsicle will take second, and it looks like Star is going to secure that 3rd place.
Yeah, agreed.
Great run.
Nice.
A happy XBlades, a happy Min-Jae. Lots of points for them. Quad Force 1 struggling a little to keep up. Propsicle was in a fight until early in the first lap when he hit that, and then really kind of kept up but never really closed on them. Star having a few bumps around 2. Here's another one. Just turning a little bit too soon, and that delayed him quite a lot. Propsicle had this bit beautifully threaded. Maverick struggling a little. Shane and Yayu will go against AK Drones and Leviathan in the 2nd race. AK Drones looks like he's decided there's not enough red in the red, white and blue of America, so he's going to fly in red here. Interesting. Yayu and Shane are in front of both of the Americans, but there's only 0.4 of a second between all 4. So, nice and tight. We've seen how this is done with Propsicle. Maverick bumped a little bit. AK Drones and Leviathan look like they're doing alright there, although AK Drones is a second behind the 2 pilots from XBlades. Here's Leviathan's view. Oh, of the inside of the bridge. Oh, that's lost him chunks of time. Oh no, Leviathan. Now that's why we call it Oil Bando, this fictional location. Bando flying is when you fly drones through abandoned buildings and around abandoned sites. Now keep your eyes peeled on Shane here. In last week's episode, he flew some incredibly narrow gaps that he didn't really need to. Very, very dangerous, I suspect. Oh, there it is! Shane, what on earth? Nobody's ever flown through there. Just as I was thinking, is he going to try and find something special and a little bit dangerously crazy? Yes, turns out he is. He's 0.6 of a second behind Yayu. Oh! And missing that big open turn there, which has lost him a whole 0.7 more. But AK Drones and Leviathan are way behind. Well, I love it when pilots do try and find new special ways to speed up their runs and dare to fly places that other people don't. Shane will probably look at trying that again as he's got this big gap now. AK Drones 2 seconds behind him. Leviathan 1.5. In fact, falling more. Now it's more like 3 seconds behind him. Oh, it's going very wrong for the very skillful AK Drones and the really brilliant Leviathan. They're just not getting around this American location at all. Yayu is out on his 4th lap. Here's Shane, 1.3 seconds behind him. 1 split S and another one there. We go up and around this sort of spiralling ladder through the cacti. Few pilots dare to try that. Here comes that bit he dared to try earlier. Oh, he's made it! Oil Bando is a location we've raced many times, but we always change the tracks. Every season, every split, every time the pilots race, we present them with new challenges for that season. So they may well know this location, but they've never flown the track in this orientation before. Perhaps that's a gap he's put some time into trying to fly, and now it turns out it's useful on this racing line. He's on the 5th lap. He's still 1.2 seconds behind his teammate. AK Drones has dropped another second behind him, and Leviathan is just not in the picture whatsoever. Oh, here we go. It's Shane on this part of the course again. This turn and into that gap. Oh, yes, squeezes through again. I've got to say, as exciting as it is to look at, and a real kind of hold your breath moment, I'm not convinced it's really any quicker than going fractionally around it. It's definitely a dangerous way of saving a tiny bit of time and potentially extremely costly. But this is exactly what he did in the racing we saw in race day 6 last week. And if you missed that, make sure you catch it on our YouTube channel. Yayu will fly us around, I suspect. He's still 1.2 seconds ahead of Shane. There you go. That's the simpler route, isn't it? Over the top of oh no, Yayu! Just clipping the underside of that turn, which you've got loads of visibility for. Ooh, Shane is coming for him now, and he's flying so riskily he's going to do something crazy. Ah, just caught that turn as he turned a little bit too early to try and make it work. But Yayu is home, and Shane will get the 2nd place.
Such a key run. 26. Oh my gosh, these guys.
Such a clean run, said Star 23467, and Leviathan is realising the challenge they pose on the light blue side of XBlades. Here's Leviathan getting caught in that Bando section. Shane, how did you fit through there? That time, only just is the answer. Didn't manage to make it through the train. There's Yayu, late on that in the final lap, clipping the underside. So big heat time. All the pilots racing. 4 points again for the winner, then 3, 2 and 1. And it's a 13 points to 7 lead for XBlades over Quad Force 1. This could be very dramatic indeed. The XBlades are flying it, generally speaking, better than Quad Force 1. Here's Star, who's in fourth. Just drop him down to fifth as two American pilots are jostling with him for position. Over the top, that's nicely done. It's a little smoother from Star 23467 than it was earlier, which is very important. He's just into the scoring positions above Propsicle, who is looming and alongside him and now trying to swap around with position. Star's managed to go up to second. It's Shane who's fallen down the chart, and he's back down in sixth now with AK Jones, and then Maverick behind him. Propsicle leading the charge for Quad Force 1. They want to get at least 6 points out of this, so a first and a third would do it. Propsicle in fifth, Leviathan passed him and was jostling now with a few of the XBlades pilots. It's close, around that sort of third, fourth, fifth, half a second behind the leader. And that leader, though, is Minjay, who we see here, cleanly flying, no drama at all. Star in third, that's Yayu and Minjay in front of him. He may see Propsicle when he goes through here. Oh, he's going to see him now. I thought as he turned over for that last split S of the lap that he might see Propsicle just coming behind him. No, Propsicle's now in front of him with Leviathan. And a second between them and fifth place Star out of the scoring positions. Now Propsicle and Leviathan will get 3 points in their current positions, and that is not going to do it. And they'll have come into this having had a difficult season so far, as I mentioned. XBlades undefeated so far. Quad Force 1 last week were 8th before their win moved them up into 5th. But last season, in Split 1 earlier this year, XBlades had 17 wins out of 18 races, and the team to beat them, yes, it was Quad Force 1. Similar lineups too. Propsicle and Leviathan were on that team, and it was Minjay and Yayu and Star was on the XBlades side. Does seem though that a win against XBlades is a stretch on this track for Quad Force 1 in Split 2. Now Propsicle is gaining a little bit on Minjay, but he's still a second behind Yayu, but we've only just reached the halfway stage. Unfortunately, Leviathan is 2 seconds and falling behind into 6th now. So it is just Propsicle, the captain, who can do anything about it at the moment. And he's past Minjay after Minjay was rattling around towards the end of the lap. Propsicle is still a second behind Yayu. That's Minjay, who is alongside that he's battling with. There he is, just slipping in front of Propsicle again. And Minjay may just steadily move away, as he does seem to be flying this track beautifully smoothly. Propsicle just see Minjay, yeah, 10th or 2, just getting away from him no matter what he does. Yayu still a long way out in front of this pair. See how wide Propsicle is going there now after he hit it earlier on. That's clearly preying on his mind a little bit. And now on to the final lap. Propsicle 2 seconds behind the leader and half a second behind Minjay. The American pilots 11 seconds behind the leader. It is just a horrible mess for Leviathan, Maverick and AK Drones. Propsicle doing all he can, but Minjay has steadily pulled away from him as we thought. Yayu is clear out in front of even the smooth flying Minjay. So it looks like Yayu and Minjay, together with Shane, are going to pick up lots of points for XBlades, and Propsicle doing the fight as best he can.
Oh gosh, what a time!
Wow. Nice.
Another happy XBlades, and this time Yayu with the win, and he was so pleased with his flying, as he should be, smooth and steady, and wins another race for XBlades. That's just a small mistake from Star, which sent him down a few places, but early in that race, Yayu gets the win. XBlades get another one in their history over Quad Force 1. It's been a rivalry that's lasted ever since Quad Force 1 joined the DCL back in 2018. 21-9 is not the finish that the Americans wanted. Time for our second matchup of the day, China Dragons against Alpha Prop Racing. Ion and Chryson will start off with Gabri and Prop flying in pink for Alpha Prop Racing. China Dragons been with us for years, Alpha Prop new in 2023. Gabri was brilliant in Split 1, Prop joined for Split 2, we're on board with them. Oh, just bumping around and into the cactus. Prop just perhaps not as experienced on this location as the other pilots, and also, as I say, much newer to the DCL. But Gabri has been the standout performer for Alpha Prop since they joined back at the start of this year, and finds themselves in second. Oh no, third. Now Ion just made that turn a little bit tighter and stays in front of Gabri. Now they head out to end lap number 1, and just tiny little tighter lines like Ion just managed to do has put 3/10 between him and Gabri, and who overshot that split S just a little bit, went a little bit deeper. So Gabri in a fighting chance here with Ion and Chryson, and turns inside Ion and goes up into second. Prop FPV is 8 and more behind everybody. Gabri, though, in pink, fighting amongst the orange China Dragon drones. Here's Ion's view as Gabri settles in a little bit ahead of them through block trade. That dive, blind, working out well for everybody. Some of them going a little bit higher than others. Ion going too high on the exit. That sends him a bit further behind. Gabri is now 2/10, 1/10 behind Chryson. And nobody threatening him for third, going up to second. So Gabri could just concentrate on the lead and try and take it. And there's 3.5 more laps to go. Oh, Gabri had an interesting little roll there. Like a little course correction, I think. Still working well. Bit smoother to the tunnel through that bridge than Chryson was. And Gabri slips inside Chryson and is going to make it stick. It's 0.05 of a second between them, but all of those turns were very tight. We're halfway through the race, starting lap number 4, and Gabri is the leader now. Chryson looming all around Gabri, perhaps just turning inside there. Yes, that was working, and Gabri's going to try and thread this and try and get on the inside of that exit. Oh, nobody can afford to make even the tiniest hesitation. It's so close, it's 1/10, and one pilot is better on one section, and then the other pilot steals it from them on the next. Oh, Chryson into the bridge, and crashing around on the exit. Oh, they've lost 2 seconds on Gabri. I said you can't afford to make even the smallest hesitation. That was a bit of a big one for Chryson, and Gabri is away. So it's 1.6 now, 1.7. Can Chryson do anything about this lead from Gabri? Well, Gabri can't afford to slack off, or Chryson will just nibble away at it. But we are on lap number 5 of 6, so there's not much left. Gabri giving that a bit of a wide berth, and here's their route. It's nice and straight like they did before on the right-hand side. Some pilots prefer to go there on the left. Gabri goes on the right, and is still ahead of Chryson. And here's the final turn, on to lap number 6. Chryson's been trying to nibble away at the lead that Gabri has. Gabri is flying well. Doesn't look like they're going to make any mistakes. Gabri is away at the front now as Chryson has dropped from second to third by another second. Ion will be in second place, and surely there's nothing the 2 China Dragons pilots can do. We'll see Chryson's view of Ion ahead of him, and he can see Gabri, but it's 2.5 seconds. And the final turns are upon us. And Gabri is out of the Bando tunnel and over the rooftop through block trade. Chryson and Ion chasing them across the courtyard, but look at that! It's a win for Alpha Prop.
All right. GG, guys. Awesome.
Good.
Keepy FPV and Lazy Day very happy with what Gabri's managed to do. Giving them a real chance of a really close match. China Dragons, there's Prop early on. Getting caught out, just round the cat's eye but hitting the ground, and never really featured from that moment on. Ion and Chryson both had a few scrapes around. Chryson getting caught out in there and hitting that hurdle, but not quite hitting the ground. Gabri, on the other hand, pretty clean. Creator Gamer and Clone number 1 will now take on Keepy and Lazy Day, and it's 5 points apiece because the win from Gabri got them 4, but then Prop FPV only picked up 1 for coming in 4th. And the other places were the China Dragons. They basically cancelled each other out. Keepy FPV, that's Geordie Peak, who's raced in the DCL in real life before. He's currently leading Clone number 1 by less than 1/10 of a second. And then it's Creator Gamer, and then Lazy Day, just a little bit further down. Early in the race, here's Clone number 1. Brilliant pilot for China Dragons. Ooh, very close to the wall after the block trade series. Nicely done. Still behind Keepy FPV though. And Keepy returned to the DCL earlier on this year. Great to have them back. But their flying in the sim hasn't been as solid as it was in previous years after they've had a little bit of a break. Very pleased to see Keepy FPV back on a DCL team, and he's actually really flying very well here. But Clone number 1 has been brilliant, as I said earlier, for China Dragons many times in recent seasons and in 2023, and now he's just passed him by 1/100th of a second. Clone number 1 leads him towards the Bando tunnel. Keepy comes out just in front. through the train, side by side. And Keepy just going slightly longer, but still super fast as they start lap number 3. And that's a nice turn from Keepy, but it was a great one from clone number 1 too. Oh, we're in this situation again where neither pilot can afford to make a mistake. Through the cat's-eye. Bold flying. Still working. Over and out through here and around the poles. And then the split S under. And that's good. Keepy, 0.2 of a second behind clone number 1 as they race across the courtyard. See clone number 1 going directly over the hole they've got to fly through. Keepy a little bit more to the right. And this is a bit risky. I think they've both hit block trade because Alpha Props Keepy is in the lead. Now it's clone number 1 who's just moved past him. Oh, clone number 1 can't get through there to tidy it up and it's half a second behind Keepy. That was the halfway stage. We start lap number 4. Clone number 1 now tangled up in the early sections around the split S's. Keepy has got a bit of breathing space. 1.5 seconds over Creator Gamer. Clone number 1 a long way behind them in 3rd and Lazy Day way behind in 4th. So we might get the same outcome as we did in the last race. One team coming 1st and 4th and the other team coming 2nd and 3rd. Cancelling each other out with 5 points each. Still, Keepy's got to go and get this win. It's Lazy Day. It's probably not going to move up from the 4th position they're in. On lap number 5, Keepy, 2.5 seconds ahead of Creator Gamer. Clone number 1, that's really sort of rattled them and sent them a longer way behind now, so we've got no challenge at the front at the moment. But Keepy FPV's made a few little bumps and mistakes, so hasn't got this clean. Oh, there's a little nudge. That's given Creator Gamer a whole second back now. Is second closer to Keepy. There's still 1.5 to catch. But these little bumps can play on a pilot's mind. And there's real pressure on Keepy. Oh no, and at the end of the 5th lap, Keepy still in the lead. Creator Gamer now trying to catch them. Oh, and on the straightaway through the 3 DCL gates, possibly the simplest part of the track. Maybe just realised how close they were to Keepy and a little bit of a rush of blood to the head as they thought, I can get him. Oh no, you had your chance there. So we've seen Keepy make a couple of mistakes, but the gap between them and China Dragons is so big that surely Alpha Prop are going to get this win. It's going to be a really desperately fought for win, but I think Keepy can get it now. One more turn, and another win for Alpha Prop.
Let's go, guys. Be consistent.
No, we can get a win. Come on, 30, 30 and 34, right?
Keepy telling his team, be consistent. Ion telling his team, okay, we can get them. The times are not impossible for us. Now on the 3rd lap, this is where clone number 1 hit the block trade gate, and they had a little bit of a crash later on lap number 4, but they were trying to catch Keepy. Keepy did hit the block trade gate at exactly the same time. Came out ahead, then got caught in the train carriage. And the lead swapped places between them for a while. Creator Gamer on the straight, trying to catch Keepy. Oh, he's going to really hate that he crashed there. And Keepy was under so much pressure, they try and exit too quickly here. Instead hit it side on. Who's going to win the big heat? Well, could be either team based on the performances we've seen, and it's 10 points. Oh, we could even come out of this with a draw. So everybody within 1/10 of a second. Good start. Keepy in the thick of it. And too close to the column as you're laddering here. That's for them to the back. Ion drops to the back now as well. Big mistake for them. Clone number 1 and Chryson. Gabri with them in 3rd. Now Gabri up into 2nd. And 9,000ths of a second alongside Chryson. And turns inside them. Can they make this section clean and get out of here? No, Gabri's down on the ground. They go down to 5th place. It's Lazy Day, who's the quickest pilot at the moment for Alpha Prop. They're the only one in a scoring position, and they've not been featuring in much of the action at the front, so this is bad news for Alpha Prop now. Chryson, clone number 1, and Creator Gamer, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, all with a comfortable lead over anybody from Alpha Prop Racing. As long as they don't put each other off. Gabri's a long way behind, but there are many laps to try and catch him. Oh, that's not going to help, though. On the inside of the train carriage, Gabri loses even more time. Well, we have a long way to go. Still 4 laps after this turn. And it's a little bit wobbly for everybody. Clone number 1 shakily comes out of that and has managed to get ahead of Chryson. And now into 1st place. Oh, it's not as clean as I've seen from clone number 1 and China Dragons at all. Gabri back into the scoring positions, meanwhile, trying to gain on everybody. It's going to be a race, you feel, where it's just going to have mistakes from everybody at different times. Can they clean it up? We're only on lap number 3. China Dragons now in all top 4 scoring positions. The last thing Alpha Prop wanted 10 points all gave Alpha Prop a real chance of getting 3 points here and an outright win over China Dragons. But it is a long way from that now. And after they lost by a small margin to the two-time reigning world champions Raiden Racing, Alpha Prop could have really done with a big win over a big-name team. It's too far away, you would think, even if we are only on lap number 4. Chryson on the right-hand side, dipping down, going a little bit slower, I feel. Perhaps as the team know, okay, we can win this thing outright, so nobody has to do anything crazy. I'm surprised how many pilots have been caught out by that turn. You've got loads of visibility on it. It's the end of the lap. There's nothing complicated afterwards. It's just a hard 180 to the left and then go back to start the next lap. That's not the most complicated part of this course, and yet a lot of people have been tripped up there. Still, though, China Dragons in all 4 scoring positions. Clone number 1, that's James Govey out of the UK. He's leading them for now, 2.2 seconds ahead of Chryson. We're on board with Keepy, who's in 5th place and can see some China Dragons drones, and they feel like they're within touching distance, but that touching distance is half a second or so. He is gaining on them, though. This is good flying from Keepy. 0.2 of a second, and he'll be getting a point for Alpha Prop. They need a lot more than that, but you've got to start somewhere. Keepy's going to try and move past inside and get between them all. He's oh so low to the ground. Still in the air, still flying strong. Ion looks like he's going to get him. Surely going to turn inside him, and he does. Keepy. Oh, he's just still slightly behind Ion. We've got a race on now in the final lap. It's too little, too late. Keepy would like to go up into 4th, and he does. Clone number 1 is first. Chryson and Creative Gamer, and then it's Keepy.
At least I beat Iron. Man, so many little mistakes.
It's those little mistakes which all add up in the end. Everybody had a few. Clone number 1 managed to be the first pilot home. Gabri onto the ground there, just before going through the train carriage. That train carriage, that's the other one, being a problem too. Chryson getting caught on that turn at the end of lap number 2, and also at the end of lap number 4. It's China Dragons who bump their way to a win over Alpha Prop Racing. Alpha Prop did get the wins in both of the 2v2s, but the points cancelled each other out, and then the big heat was very one-sided. Elsewhere on race day 7, Cyclone, who are the nearest rivals to China Dragons, they also got a win by brushing aside the wildcard team. Haven were a no-show against Raiden. That means that XBlades remain on top with 7 wins out of 7. China Dragons got another win, as did Cyclone, and Raiden Racing remaining 4th. STT have managed to push back up into the top 6. Next week, we got some Titanic clashes. XBlades are going to be racing Raiden. China Dragons are going to be racing Cyclone. We'll bring you all that on the next episode of the Drone Champions League. I'm Matt Andrews. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the skies.